Right. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us again for another Zoom podcast for WKS. This time I'm with Kerry Hackworth. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah. We're we'll start off then, really, if you want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, where you started in music, or give us some background, basically.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I do a little bit of everything, I think, with the music. I'm a gigging musician and also I'm a teacher of music as well. But my gigging sort of history sort of dates back to when I left college in '88. I did a lot of foreign contracts abroad, and in between came back and did a lot of local stuff. And I'm still doing that. I do a lot of covers, and I work in functions and local pubs, that kind of thing. So
Right.
that's the sort of gigging side. But the other side, the teaching side, is sort of taking over, especially at the moment, as you can imagine. I
Mm.
do a lot of online work with piano students and vocal students, and I work at a college and I teach music there as well. So yeah, I'm pretty much ensconced in all of it, to be honest, at the moment.
Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. Um, so the sort of, do you do any sort of original, do you write music yourself or you just do covers?
Well, I used to write a lot of music, and it's really funny you should ask that because just lately I've been getting back into the songwriting. I think because of the situation we find ourselves in,
Mm.
I've been a bit more inspired, if you like, to write more. And I've just done a songwriting course online, which I've loved, and I'm signed up to do another one. So
Brilliant.
I'm really going to get back into the original stuff again. But I wrote for the sort of Cornwall Eisteddfod over the years when I was a lot younger, and then just dabbled a little bit over the years. I guess around about 2005, I was quite serious about it.
Mm.
And I did a solo album and I promoted it and sort of locally. But I think there was so many other things going on. It wasn't the right time. So I kind of
Mm.
went back to the covers at that point. But I'm definitely getting back into the songwriting again now.
Fantastic. Do you think then the with the lockdowns that have been happening, has that been songwriting wise quite productive then?
Oh, most definitely. I mean,
Mm.
it's certainly an inspiring time because it's so unusual for all of us to be in this
Mm.
situation. But I think also I've had the time to just sit down and play the piano and just enjoy it. And I mean, I write music from the piano, which again is something that I don't think it's something that was happening quite so much. I think people pick up a guitar and just strum and get some
Mm.
ideas. But working from a piano, you have to just sit down and sort of focus yourself, and that's been brilliant. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. So yeah, I do think the experience of lockdown has really inspired. Yeah,
Mm.
definitely.
Mm. Great. So who inspires you then to do your music? Have you got anybody that inspires you? Maybe right at the beginning that got you into it, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think my main inspiration, and still is Joni Mitchell. I'm a
Mm.
huge, humongous fan of Joni Mitchell. When I did my degree, I did my thesis on her and on her writing styles because she covered so many different styles as well
Right.
in within her writing career. And I'm still inspired by it, still listen to her. And the album that I did, my debut kind of songwriting album, if you like, back in 2009, certainly had a lot of tinges of that Joni Mitchell sort of arranging and even subject material sometimes.
Mm.
But yeah, I would say she's my big inspiration, I must admit. So yeah,
Brilliant.
and all that kind of around that era, that sort of big singer-songwriter, early 70s kind of time, obviously Crosby, Stills and Nash, Neil Young, that kind of stuff was always a big inspiration as well.
Yeah,
So
I love Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
incredible, aren't they? Yeah, amazing, aren't they? Yeah.
So you mentioned an album there. Was it 2009? I think you
Yeah.
said. Is that still available for people? Can people get hold of that?
Well, yeah. I've still got a few in the garage. Don't worry, I can dig them out.
Okay. Have you got anything online? Anything on YouTube or?
Again, I have got a YouTube channel. Yeah, it's just under Kerry Hackworth. But yeah, a lot of that is covers. But it's certainly something again that I've not had the chance, other than now, to really sort of get into. And certainly over this last lockdown, and having done the songwriting course, was one of those you saw on Facebook, you know, come and join us for a fiver kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just felt so inspired. I thought that's what I needed to sort of kick me
Wow.
up the backside and actually do something again, which has been fantastic. So
Superb.
yeah, the music will be available, definitely.
Okay, lovely. What's your creative process then? You know, songwriting wise or creating songs. How's it start for you?
I think really, I mean, like I said earlier, I just sit and poodle about on the piano, and then something comes and I think, well, that's quite nice, and I'll record it on my phone just so I don't forget it. And then maybe the next time I sit down, I'll try and get the melody for it. It might be a run of chords or a melody, a riff or something like that. And I generally work with the music first. I try and get the music so that that sounds like a sort of a basis, a structure of a song, and then try and put some inspiring lyrics over the top, something that makes sense.
Right.
But well, not always, of course.
Yeah. Do you think that sort of your lyrics tend to maybe have a theme generally going on right the way through, or are they all so different? You know.
And I wouldn't say there's a running theme. I mean, I generally write from personal experience. Things like my mother passed away a fair few years ago now, but as soon as that happened, that was down in a song. I've been through a divorce, which was another thing that really inspired me to write. I got remarried again. More, do you know what I mean? Real personal experiences, I think, that really kind of that hit home, if you like. And this situation, I've got a couple sort of bubbling away at the moment, you know, inspired by the lockdown and the coronavirus. So I'm sure they'll be out there soon as well.
Yeah. Do you, you mentioned you sing, but obviously, and solo, I think you said.
Yeah.
Have you collaborated? You know, is that something that you've done in the past and want to do?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been in many bands over the years. The last sort of band I would say that I was in, and again, I only left the band because it was just no time to do it anymore, because my teaching got so much. But I was in a three-piece female vocal band, inspired by the Andrews Sisters. So we were called the Blue Angels, and we did a lot of the vintage sort of Glenn Miller songs and so on, wartime songs. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah, so I collaborated with the girls there. I've been involved in lots and lots of bands over the years as well, mainly cover bands. I don't think I've ever been in an originals band, if you like.
Okay.
The cover stuff, you know, doing the functions, the foreign contracts. I was away for 10 years doing foreign contracts with a band. And so, you know, generally speaking, it's been lots of collaborations. And I still collaborate now and again with people, but funnily enough, one of my best collaborators, I would say, and very often on hand, is my ex-husband, can you believe? And we very often get together and do some singing or recording, and it's always great fun. It's really good to collaborate with him.
It's funny how these things work, isn't it?
Absolutely. Tell me.
Yeah. So what would you say is your favorite song to perform then, whether it's a cover or your own, what's your favorite song?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I would say stuff by Roberta Flack. One that really springs to mind is Killing Me Softly. I very often play that on the piano, or I'll get a backing track or whatever. But I would say that's one of the best ones. I would say that always comes to mind. And the other one that's a very close second, if not tied first, I would say is Natural Woman, because I'm a big Aretha fan as well. And I love to try and keep the voice up to sort of being fit enough to sing that sort of stuff, which gets more difficult as the years go by. But certainly when I sing Natural Woman, I do feel like I can really belt it out and enjoy it and really work the voice as well. So that's good fun.
Brilliant. A daft question now. Do you sing in the shower?
Oh, always. Best place. Gotta be, isn't it? Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. I think the air is really good for the vocal cords, and the acoustics are fabulous. You know, even if it's not a good day, somehow it kind of sounds all right.
Lovely. What would you say the best bit of advice you've been given?
Oh my goodness, that's a question and a half. Best advice. I don't know. Gosh, now you've shut me up. That's all right.
I'll have a slurp of my tea.
Yeah, you go for it. I might do the same in a minute. Yeah, I think I think sort of a lot of when I was at college, had a lot of advice from people. Obviously, at college, I studied jazz for 3 years at Leeds, and there were some amazing musicians, people that were and obviously singers as well. And I had a lot of advice there. That kind of springs to mind because that was really the foothold to go on to do other things for me. As soon as I came out of college, I thought music is definitely what I want to continue. Took me a while to get there, but I think that will probably be the biggest thing. And I do remember one night, I'm going to name drop a bit now, but I do remember one night going out and, well, we did a gig in Abu Dhabi many years ago. And the Temptations were the top of the bill over in the sort of the Hilton Beach Club. And we were playing in the restaurant and they came over and saw us play. It was me and my ex-husband. And they stayed and they played with us after time, which was just stunning. But they turned the electric off in the bar. So we had to just sing with sort of doo-wop and all a cappella. And it was just fabulous. And I just started to ad lib and fool about with the front singer. And he just turned around to me and went, "Don't ever lose that." He said, "Just don't lose that." And I just thought that just stayed with me. So I love to improvise. I love to do things. He said, "Just make the song your own and don't ever lose that." And I just thought those words sometimes just ring in my ears when I'm singing something. And I think, how many times has somebody heard this? Let's just change it about a bit, make it a bit unique, if you like. And so, yeah, I would say that's probably the best bit of advice.
Superb. So what would you be doing right now if it wasn't for your music, you know?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, over the years, you know, when you've not been able to gig or have not been able to get with a band or whatever, I've done some different jobs. I mean, I've worked at the college for over 20 years in Truro. But before that, I mean, I was a care assistant. I've worked in supermarkets as well. You know, just in fact, over the summer in the lockdown, I became an online assistant at Sainsbury's for a few months, just to sort of pennies rolling in. So I'd like to think that I could kind of turn my hand to anything, but at the same time, the music is where I really want to be. So I don't know. I'd be happy working at Tesco's as long as I could come home and play a bit of music. I think I'd be happy wherever it would be. Nothing wrong with working at Tesco's, but you know what I mean? Anything, as long as I can keep the music going.
Right. Couple more questions. We've got now sort of, if you were talking to a younger version of yourself, you know, what advice would you give yourself?
I think I must admit that when I was at college, and I do think about this a lot because of the songwriting that I'm just getting back into now, but I had the chance to do a lot more songwriting and a lot more at the college than I did. I kind of did the bare minimum and got through it. I was 18, 19 and just out having a wonderful time and living in a beautiful city. But I think I would say to myself now, go back to those lessons and just do a bit more, learn a bit more. You know, I don't think you can ever stop learning in music, which I think is the amazing thing about it. I'm 54 and I'm still learning and still practicing, and I love that side of it. Yeah. So yeah, I think going back to college, just doing a little bit more. And I try and say that to the students as well. They obviously think I'm very boring, but I do just say, just open your ears, take it all in, you know. And I think also the problem is that at that age, you think you know it all. You don't. If you're doing okay, then that's the bare minimum. That's fine. But just doing that extra little bit, and I think it would have maybe stood me in better stead for things like the songwriting and the playing.
Great bit of advice. Yeah, definitely. Okay, last question. Who would you like to thank for you being here musically now?
That's an easy one. I think it's got to be my dad. I remember, just again, I'll try and make it quick, but when I went to Leeds, I'd never left Cornwall really, other than for school trips or whatever. We didn't really leave the county. My dad is a Cornishman born and bred. He's a farmer, and he just loves Cornwall, still does, you know, bless him. But I remember phoning him up after the first half term at Leeds, you know, with all these amazing players, fantastic musicians around me. And I just phoned up thinking I don't know anybody, I'm not getting on. And I remember saying to him, I just want to come home. And I was bawling my eyes out down the phone at him, that please let me come home. And he said, look, just give it till Christmas. He said, just see how you get on till Christmas. And just before Christmas, I met a really, really nice girl, another singer. We hit it off like you wouldn't believe. I'm still in contact with her now.
Fantastic.
And she was the one, I think, yeah, she was the one that made me think, actually, yeah, I think he's right. I'm going to stick with it. And I stuck the 3 years. But if it wasn't for him, if he'd said, okay, come home, then that would have been it. And I don't think I would have had the ability or the confidence to do what I'm doing now without that. It was a turning point, I must admit.
Lovely. Right. Well, what I'll do is I'll check out your YouTube thing, and I'll put up a few of the songs against this interview.
Please do. That would be amazing.
And Kerry, thank you so much for giving me the time. Great interview.
Oh, no, thank you very much for getting in touch. It's been fabulous. Thank you.
All right. And we'll speak soon.
I hope so. You take care.
Right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.